Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. Today we'll be reviewing the first T20 between India and England. England winning convincingly by, was it 8 wickets? I think it was 8 wickets. And I have with me my co-host Abrar Aziz. This England team, different ball, different kit, and they're just a different team, man.
Absolutely. I mean, we've spoken about it in the preview as well. Like when we were previewing the series, white ball cricket is England's a different beast, and you can see the level of talent that's available. Like you saw the likes of Jason Roy, who hasn't played a game in red ball, looking very very good today. Bairstow looked a completely different player today.
Wow.
Jim
Good
Butler,
signs for
I was
Sunrisers, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Problem is, I don't know how we're gonna fit him in the team because we are you go. That's a good topic for another day. But yeah, I think Butler also looked good. The pace, Mark Wood and Jofra Archer looking absolutely incredible. So and one of those cases where India actually read the pitch wrong. I thought there was pace in the track, and they didn't make the most of it. I mean, they went in with three spinners, and the spinners got tonked. So Chahal was expensive. You saw. When Sundar came on, he took a wicket, but he was expensive as well. And they lacked the pace. The likes of Thakur and Bhuvi are somewhat similar kind of bowlers. They don't have that much pace. So maybe a little bit of a mistake in there trying to bring in pace. I know Nattu is not express pace, but he brings in a different variety. So maybe bring him in, and obviously we missed the likes of Bumrah and Shami today because the pace was needed, and those are the two guys who are actually fiery pace from the Indian perspective. So we missed that for sure today. And overall, I thought it was just completely outclassed in batting and bowling department. I thought England were professional. They looked good. They came out strong, and they made India look bad. So and that's saying something because India is not usually very easily beaten like this. This was a poor game by them. But usually when India loses the first, they come back strong. So I'm not too worried overall. I think they just need to fine tune a few things, and I think they'll be okay. But I think there are some worrying signs for this Indian team right now.
Yeah, I mean they're slow starters. We've seen that in the Test series as well, in the One Day series in Australia. But do you think they got the team combination a bit wrong? Like you said, they should have gone with the pacer.
Yeah.
So they didn't read the pitch, but also from a batting perspective, they didn't read the pitch either, right? Like they went a bit aggressive, I mean, I like the approach. It didn't pay off at all. It looked really bad. I
Yeah.
like that aggressive approach. That listen, we have batsmen till the end. We have Sundar, we have Akshar Patel, we have batsmen throughout the end. So let's go from ball one. But at the same time, you needed somebody to be there, right? Like I mean, and also the shot selection more than anything. Rahul not moving his feet, Kohli as well. That was a poor shot. Dhawan. So it was the shot selection on this pitch. It wasn't that hard to bat on.
Yeah.
But like maybe Jason Roy, he set the template. Like try to get in a bit, and then you start hitting. Bairstow came and hit from ball one, so it
Yeah.
was a good pitch to bat on.
Absolutely, it was a perfect pitch to bat on. I mean, there was pace for the bowlers, but at the same time, like if you can dig in and get yourself going, all you need is about 8-10 balls. You saw Shreyas Iyer also did a decent job. He got in, he stuck it out, and he was able to score at a good strike rate of 130. So it's just unfortunate because sometimes people don't understand. I think that the thing is with batting first, sometimes it gets that unnecessary pressure on you, and that's the T20 issue as well.
Yeah,
Like
that's strange. Like, Test matches, you wanted to bat first here. You
you
could
don't want
see,
to bat
like,
first.
Kohli wanted to bowl first, Morgan wanted to bowl first. But at the same time, I think, it wasn't that bad of a toss to lose because there
Yeah.
wasn't too much due. But you expected more than 120, at least 160, 70 on the board.
Oh,
When
absolutely.
you have Rishabh
Absolutely.
Pant playing a reverse sweep
Yeah.
like that,
Oh man,
that means
he's
it's a
just
good
that
pitch to bat on.
that one shot made me a bigger fan of him. I'm already a fan
Yeah,
of him, made a
what a
bigger fan
shot.
of him. What a shot! Like and it's not easy to do that. I mean, it's to a fast bowler and when the tails are up, they've already gotten a couple of wickets. They're looking good. Suddenly, he comes out of there and out of nowhere, like hits a sixer behind the wicketkeeper. That's just beautiful to see.
Yeah, he's done it again.
But I think he didn't stick on, which was unfortunate. Hardik Pandya couldn't get off. That was unfortunate. Shreyas Iyer is the only shining light in the batting department, and just not enough on the day. They were
And there
poor.
was talk about him and Surya Kumar, like who will play, but I think he's probably cemented his place for a few games at least.
Absolutely, and in Indian conditions and all of that, I think he's more than a handful. I think he's a good batsman, especially in Indian conditions. He is struggling, yes, against when there's pace and when there's bounce, he struggles. But I think he's going to work on that, and if he wants to continue to be a mainstay in this middle order, he's going to have to work on that. But I think for today, he was the only shining light. Even in the bowling department, we lacked pace. We had nothing to
100%.
go off of. I mean, England made us look quite poor. I mean, in the bowling and the batting department. So hats off to England. I think that they are a very, very professional, solid side, and it's going to take a lot more from India if they want to beat this kind of a quality side.
Yeah, before I talk about the England performances individually, I just wanted to ask how much did India miss Rohit Sharma on this kind of pitch? He likes the pace coming onto the bat. Yes, it was express pace, but at the same time, he likes that. He makes it look easy. So someone like him probably would have been better suited on this kind of pitch.
Oh, absolutely, and he's also the man in form, right? He's been scoring the runs, so he's confident. We
I
definitely
actually
missed him.
didn't mind that move, to be honest with you, because he just came back from injury, intense test series, a very intense test series with the World Championship on the line. I didn't really mind that move of resting him, but definitely if he was there, it would have been a different ball game.
And he's going to play a lot of IPL as well. So I don't think that he's. I mean, resting some guys. I also hope that they rest Punt, even though it will be now with a little bit on the back foot. We'll need to win more games than England now. So I still think that we should rest Punt. We should give him a full week off or something like that. Just give him, hopefully win the next two games, and then give him a break in the last two or something of the sort. But yeah, I think there's enough talent in the batting department that can replace him. He's a solid player, but I think that you should give him that kind of rest, and I'm glad that Rohit also got that rest. I think we missed Rohit Sharma for sure, and I also, like I said before as well, I think in terms of because of the pace, we missed the pace, and for that reason we missed Bumrah and Shami as well.
Yep, I completely agree with that. Now, if you just talk about England, Jofra Archer, the best T20 bowler in the world right now. Do you think? I mean, he's performed in every league in different conditions. I don't know, with the white ball, I think he's just that's his format. What do you call it? Like, that's his niche, and he's a really good bowler overall. But T20, he knows exactly which line and length to hit. That short ball becomes a surprise. He has the slower ball as well. Variation is perfect. I think the speeds which vary completely, bamboozles the batsman to a certain extent. But your thoughts on him, and is there anyone better than him currently in this format?
It's very hard. I think he is right up there in amongst the top T20 bowlers in the world. I think even when you see with Rajasthan Royals, he wasn't getting the support, but he was always phenomenal. And for England, he's been proven time and again. He is a very, very good bowler. Even today, 3 wickets for less than six strike rate. So he's been absolutely phenomenal for this England side. I think that there's a case to be made for him to be just a white ball player. I think because in test cricket, because of the long spells and stuff like that, sometimes you see him get tired, get carried away, and not in his best. I'm not taking anything away from him, but there's a case to be made, because especially because England has this rotation policy and stuff like that. It makes sense that maybe they consider him only as a white ball player, give him those test breaks when England is playing test cricket, and maybe keep him as an extra bowler in some of the important test matches or something of the sort. But I think they have enough talent in Broad and Anderson and Wood and some of the other guys to actually just be test bowlers, and for him to be a white ball bowler.
They have Ollie Pope coming through as well. He has a lot of pace, so they can focus on that. Because I think Archer also, I don't think he's played as much domestic cricket, the 5-day format, the 4-day format. So when I saw him burst onto the scene, it was in the Big Bash. And then from there, he played all these T20 leagues, the IPL as well. So he's more of that T20 kind of format bowler. But yes, he's world-class in any format. But T20 just takes it up a notch.
Absolutely.
And Mark Wood, I was surprised because I thought they'd play one of them, because, they're both similar kind of bowlers. But his pace, again, very fiery, very accurate, and he bowled wonderfully well, I think, giving just 20 odd runs in his 4 overs.
And I mean, almost everyone was good, right, in the bowling department. I think it was Archer.
They all contributed,
It was Archer who kind of stole the show, but I think everyone else supported him well. Like you said, Mark Wood was also very good. The likes of Karan, Stokes, Adil Rashid, everyone had a decent outing. A couple of wickets here and there for everyone. So it was nice to see that. I mean, it was complete bowling performance, and that you could tell, 124 is hardly a score. Obviously, that means as a bowling unit they performed very, very well. And then the likes of Roy and Johnny are coming in and finishing it off in style, a performance that would give a lot of confidence to England.
Yeah, and let's talk about Adil Rashid a bit. He picked up Virat Kohli. I don't think he put any runs on the board. He got him out for 0. Just a word on that. I mean, we know Kohli's form has been very up and down, especially he's got a couple of zeros in the last few games.
Yeah.
But he does get out to leg spinners quite a bit in the T20 format. We've seen in the IPL as well. I think from 2017 to 2019, he's got out around 5 times, which is, for him, it's quite a bit. So do you think there's an issue with leg spin?
Before I go on and talk anything about Virat Kohli, I still think he's a champion batsman. I have nothing
Yeah, yeah,
against him,
no
but
doubt, no doubt.
but I think today was the first time. Today was the first time I felt like he was completely out of sorts. Yes, he's been having that issue with leg spin, but I haven't ever seen him shift around like the way he was shifting around today. And like it's not his style. He has to stick to what he's doing best, which is stand and deliver. I mean, if he gets out to a good ball, fair enough. But today, what he did was very very confusing to me, and it causes a little bit of concern for me, because he's thinking too much into it. He's dwelling too much into his form. I mean, I think now it's playing in his head as well, that he hasn't scored a big score in a while now, which is not what he's used to. He's used to scoring every now and again. He'll have a few low scores, but he'll have a big score, so he settles himself down. But he hasn't had one in a long time now. We've hardly seen a test match 100 by him, or a one day 100, or even T20 50 also by him in a while now. Like, I mean, of course, we didn't play for any cricket for 8-9 months, but these things play in your mind. The last test 100 he's had is against Bangladesh towards the end of 2019, which is more than a year and a half away now.
Yeah.
So these things will play in everyone, will play in his mind. So it's going to be worrying. And I think that the fact that he's shifting around as much, and for the first time I saw him completely out of sorts. I've never really seen him like that personally, for me as well. Like, I've seen him have a few low scores. I've seen him struggle against leg spin, but today it was not only leg spin. It was his mind that he was fighting with as well, which is not a good sign to see.
Yeah, and it takes me back to that Adelaide run out. Like, he was looking so good. Maybe if he just got 100 that day, things would have just turned around. It could be that. It just could be confidence. We just have a comment from Puneet. He's asking, Dhawan has performed in the IPL last year, but not that well for India. Do you think it's time to move on from him, or still back him in this format, I guess?
So I spoke to you about him on offline as well. I think Dhawan is the kind of guy, he needs a few games to get going. And because of the talent that we have, especially in the top order, I just feel like there's better people who can get going from the get go. KL Rahul was a little bit poor today because he didn't move his foot, but that's because he hasn't played it for a while too. So it's kind of hard. I think that Rohit Sharma is obviously a sure shot starter. I think it's between KL and Dhawan to take the spot, and I think KL is a little bit, unfortunately, with due respect to Shikhar Dhawan, KL is a little bit more talented than him, and I think he can get going a little bit faster. So I just feel like, unfortunately for that, I think in T20 cricket, I think it's a little bit difficult. It's getting more and more difficult to back Dhawan because of the talent that we have available. I still think that he's okay for the 50 over format. I think with T20, I think that there's a case that can be made for us to move on from him and have Rohit and KL. And I feel like they also discussed this. Foley also mentioned that KL and Rohit are the top. Top two guys. Yeah.
So that's why I was surprised to see Dhawan start, but I think it was because of rest. But I agree with you. I think he's more of I think right now one days, because he's that likes to get into that zone, feel his way through to from the power play, and then take his innings from there. So I think in the T20 format, you need to go a bit earlier, and maybe that's not suiting him as much. But he did have a good IPL, but yeah, I think they would go with Rohit and Rahul for now. Let's see how that goes. One more question is from Puneet again. Do you think questions being raised on Kohli's captaincy is affecting his batting?
I honestly thought he was getting better at captaincy. I mean, yes, he still has a lot of questions about his captaincy, no doubt. I don't. Well, at least till now, I never thought that was affecting his batting, because we've had questions about his captaincy for a while now, and for a couple of years initially he never had any issues with his batting. He was always good with the bat, but we always had questions about his captaincy. Maybe it's because it's continuing to be long term, it's bothering him possibly. But I don't think he's that kind of mindset. It's a mindset thing. I think once your mind kind of isn't in the game. I'm not saying in the game when I say like what I was saying talking today. Like, he's fighting with his mind as well because he's having those low scores. I don't think it has to do with anything to do with the captaincy. I think the BCCI has made it very clear. I think Ravi Shastri made it very clear that he is the top class captain at this moment in time, and I think they're going to back him. Well, I guess the fact that Ajinkya Rahane performed so well with the captaincy also kind of playing in his mind, possible, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think it's playing on his mind like that. I think because there's been questions raised about his captaincy throughout, like even in the IPL, like, with Bangalore, like they haven't won anything. There are questions asked about him, but his batting generally is good. Right now, it's that form, it's like in 2014 when he was in England, that Jimmy Anderson haunting him. It's kind of like that. Maybe not at that level right now because he's scoring the odd 50 here and there, but it's just poor form, and he just needs to get out of it. Every player goes through it, and this is his time, I guess. And he's mentally strong enough, I think, to come out of it as a batsman.
Sure.
as
For
a
sure.
batsman. Yeah, but
100%.
if see, I think T20 World Cup, that's the main thing. You'll have to see him there, his performances and thing. If that turns around, like if that goes a bit south, then of course you can talk about it a bit
Yeah.
more. But
I
let's
think at
see
this
how
moment in time, we'll just have to give him a little bit more time to just come out of that form issue.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Because the thing is, one thing is though he will be captain. I think he is backed, but I think the likes of Rohit Sharma will need to be a bit more involved. Because he has Rohit Sharma has the experience of winning trophies, like in the Asia Cup with Mumbai Indians and stuff. So like they'll need to work together and try to come up with something tactically. But right now, I think in terms of his form, Kohli will come back. I'm confident about that in terms of his batting.
Sure.
And for you, Jafra Archer probably. Sorry.
A man of the match is Jafra Archer, but I have a question for you before we call it a day. Michael Vaughan tweeted saying that the Mumbai Indians unit is better than the Indian unit as a whole. Do you agree with that?
I think it's too early to comment on that. But because, I mean, Mumbai Indians have some quality players as well, but the Indian teams, like, let's compare De Kock to Rishabh Pant.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, wow, like there's not a big difference. Who do you say is better right now? You probably go Pant?
Yeah, on current form and current feeling, yeah.
You have Surya Kumar here as well. You have add to that Virat Kohli. You have to Bumrah. You add Bhuvneshwar, Shami. This is he talking about today's thing or overall India's team? I don't know. Overall, I don't think so. But
he just tweeted Mumbai Indians is better than India.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that tweet. I think I shared that. But I don't. I to be honest, a lot of people have problems with Michael Vaughan. I don't. I think it's good banter. I think it's banter, to be honest with you. I don't know if he really believes that. If he does, that's his opinion. Fair enough. But I think it's banter because it's difficult to compare. Mumbai Indians, to be honest, is probably the best domestic T20 team. But you have those players plus some other special Indian players as well. So unless we have a match, it's very difficult to.
And it's going to be hard to have a match because there's 3 or 4 of these guys in the Indian unit and the Mumbai Indians unit. Rohit Sharma, Surya Kumar.
Yeah, so how are you going to split that?
Bumrah, Hardik. Man, the Indian team is mainly filled with Delhi and Bombay. Do you realize that?
Yeah, Delhi and Bombay. And then you have a couple of sunrisers here and there. Bhuvneshwar Kumar and
Natarajan.
I think Natarajan, you have a couple. Another Puneet just saying, as Abra said, it will be tough for India to beat this England side. What is the major difference between the two teams and what changes should India make to try to win the World Cup?
I think the World Cup, when it comes to the World Cup, I think that they will play a full strength squad. I think the likes of Bumrah, Shami come back easily, and they unfortunately, with as much as I love Bhuvi, will probably take over the spot for Bhuvi and Thakur, obviously. And Rohit comes back. I think when they play a full strength squad, that's going to be a little bit different. I think they still have about 3 or 4 players that need to come back. Jaddu comes back instead of Aksar. That makes a big difference as well, So because at number 7, Jaddu, and then I think overall. That's when we will be able to really test this tide, and when they have I spoke about 4 players: Bumrah, Shami, Rohit, and Jaddu. I think when these 4 can come back and assume their roles as starters, that's when the real competition will start. I think that they will go for that in the World Cup, unless of course there's some injuries. That's when we'll be able to really see the difference and be able to see that telling difference. And I think that they'll do okay in terms of how the World Cup will be as well. And the IPL will give all these guys enough of a practice. Then they go to the World Cup T20, where 4 or 5 of these players will only play and the others will be rested well. Then we can just get ready for the World Cup, which will be fun to see as well.
Yeah, if I can also give my thought on this, it's a really good question. So I just want to say, I think the main difference is the mindset. England focused on white ball cricket, on T20s. From 2015, they've been focused. Whereas India, I think they put more eggs in the test basket. They're looking for that World Test Championship. It's not an excuse, but I just think the mindset is a bit different in there. You can see England are completely prepared for this format. Yeah. They have Jason Roy waiting in the wings. Bairstow's mindset changed in 1 second. Like they're focused. Like these guys have been brought into the system in 2015. A lot of these players to play this format of the game, even the 50 over format, more aggressive, power hitting, and they have particular tactics. Whereas India, they have players playing all 3 formats, so they have to adjust a bit. I think that takes a bit of time mentally, physically as well. So I think that's a major factor. And in terms of talent, India has a lot of talent. England does as well, but England, I think, are focusing more on it, so they're more prepared, if I can say so, for this format in particular. They took a big risk. Like I don't think many teams would have risked that World Test Championship, they rotated it so much, but for this format. And they did this because they knew this is preparation for the T20 World Cup. So they're eyeing the T20 World Cup for a long time now. Whereas India, I think, will now focus on the T20 World Cup with this series and with the India and with the IPL, but they still have that World Test Championship. I think they're really, really focused on that. So I think maybe it's a mindset thing as well.
I agree with that.
Yep. And I think, that wraps up today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me. Quickly, second T20 predictions before I let you go.
Oh, India will win that one.
Let's go. I just want to see a bit more of Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant, man. Hardik Pandya was that no look. It wasn't a no look six, but that six he hit today. I'm like, wow, man, need some more of that. And Rishabh Pant's reverse sweep. That'd be exciting.
I'm telling you, man, Hardik Pandya, I just can't wait for him to get going. I can't wait for him to get going.
Yeah,
I just hope he never performs against Sunrisers, but continues to perform against everyone else.
Yeah, speaking of Sunrisers, Bairstow coming to great form. And then Jason Roy, I don't think he got an IPL contract, so I think he's trying to prove a point here as well. So they're coming out all guns blazing, this Indian team, and let's see how it goes. But for now, I think that wraps up the show. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you right after the second T20, just a day gap. So enjoy that game as well, man.
Looking forward to it, man.
Thank you. Take care.